There are moments in this life when you feel something shift inside you that has no name, no explanation, no logical pathway that could describe how one person becomes a gravity in your chest, a tenderness that lives beneath your ribs even when they're nowhere near you, and perhaps especially when they are not. This is not the love that announces itself with certainty or arrives with promises already written, but rather the kind that moves through you like water finding its way through stone, slowly, patiently, reshaping everything it touches until you realize you are not the same woman you were before this connection found you. The angels speak of this as recognition, not in the way you might recognize a face in a crowd, but in the way your soul remembers something it knew before word existed, before time was measured, before hearts learned to protect themselves with distance and logic, and all the reasonable explanations we offer when something feels too large to hold. There is a man whose energy has woven itself into your awareness, and whether you speak every day or have not spoken in months, whether you are building something together or standing in the most painful kind of silence, there's a thread between you that is not broken, that perhaps cannot break, because it was never made of circumstance or convenience. It was made of something older, something that the angels tend with great care, because they know that connections like this do not come to teach you about him. They come to teach you about yourself, about the capacity of your own heart, about what you are willing to feel, to hold, to wait for, to walk away from, to return to honor, even when honoring it means standing in uncertainty. You may have wondered if you imagined the depth of what passed between you, if you gave too much meaning to glances or conversations or moment of connection that felt like coming home. But the angels want you to know that you did not imagine it. What you felt was real. What moved between you was seen. What lives in you now is not delusion or longing dressed up as spiritual truth. It is a recognition of a bond that exists beyond the surface of daily life, beyond the roles you play, beyond even the question of whether this love will take the form you hope it will. Right now, in this very moment, there is a path unfolding that neither of you can see in its entirety, a path that is being shaped by choices and inner movements and quiet shifts in consciousness that do not always announce themselves. And you are on this path, not because you forced it or manifested it or did everything perfectly, but because your soul said yes to something before your mind could question it, before your heart could protect itself, before fear could dress itself up as wisdom and tell you to walk away. There is a particular kind of loneliness that comes not from being alone, but from feeling deeply connected to someone who is not fully present, someone whose energy you carry like a second heartbeat even when they are withdrawn into their own world, their own confusion, their own process that has nothing to do with you and everything to do with the person they are becoming. And the angels see you in this space. They see the nights when you reach for your phone and then put it down, the conversations you have with them in your mind that are more honest than any you have had in person. The way you move through your days carrying this tenderness, there's nowhere to go, no clear path forward, no reassurance that what you feel is mutual or welcomed or even acknowledged. The silence between you is not empty, though it may feel that way when you are alone with your thoughts at 3 a.m, wondering if you gave your heart to someone who does not know what to do with it, wondering if love is supposed to feel this uncertain, this stretch between hope and grief, this alive with possibility, and yet so quiet that you sometimes question whether anything is happening at all. But the angels want you to understand that silence is not always absence. Sometimes silence is a space where transformation happens, where a person must go to untangle themselves from old patterns, old fears, old versions of love that taught them to run or hide or protect themselves by remaining unavailable. And his silence, difficult as it is for you to hold, may be the sound of him finally facing something in himself that he could not face while standing close to you, something that your presence illuminated, something that he must work through alone, because no one can do that kind of inner work for another person, no matter how much love is offered. You've been carrying so much, holding space not just for your own feelings, but for his. Try to understand, try and be patient, try love in a way that does not demand or pressure or push. And this is beautiful. This is a work of a woman who understands that real love is not about control. But the angels also want you to see that there's a difference between holding space and abandoning yourself in that space, between being patient and waiting in a way that slowly empties you of your own light, between honoring someone's process and forgetting that you are also in process, that you're also becoming, that your path does not pause simply because it has slowed. The connection between you is real. The love is real. The potential is real. But so, is this moment, this tender and difficult moment where you are being asked to feel everything and still remain rooted in your own worth, your own life, your own unfolding, even when your heart wants to reach across the distance and make everything okay for him, even when every part of you wants to close the space between you with your love alone. There is something the angels want you to see clearly, something that may be difficult to hear, but is spoken with so much compassion, so much understanding of how deeply you feel, how sincerely you love. You have been waiting, not just in the way that one waits for a text message or a phone call or a sign that someone is thinking of you, but in a more profound way, waiting for him to be ready, waiting for him to see what you see, waiting for the moment when everything clicks into place and the love you feel finally has room to breathe and grow and become what you sense it could be. And while this kind of waiting can look like faith, can feel like dedication, can even be mistaken for spiritual patience, the angels gently ask you to consider what you may be sacrificing at the altar of this waiting, what parts of yourself you have set aside, what dreams you have whispered into a smaller voice, what life you have been living in the margins while keeping the center open for someone who has not yet claimed it. Your love is a lantern, bright and warm and constant, and you've been holding it up in the dark, hoping it will guide him home to you, hoping it will be enough to light the way. But love, real, mutual, healthy love, cannot be sustained by one person's light alone. And the longer you hold that lantern by yourself, the heavier it becomes. The more your arms ache, the more you forget that you were not meant to stand in one place illuminating a path for someone else while your own path grows cold and dim beneath your feet. The angels do not speak of this to diminish what you feel or to suggest that you should harden your heart or build walls or stop believing in connection. They speak of it because they love you, because they see the fullness of who you are, the magnitude of your capacity to love. And they know that you are meant for a love that meets you, a love that shows up, a love that does not ask you to shrink or wait or prove your worth through your patience. And they want you to know that choosing yourself, honoring your own needs, moving forward in your own life, does not mean you're giving up on what could be. It means you are finally giving to yourself what you've been so willing to give to him. Presence, attention, devotion, care. There's a part of you that fears if you stop waiting, if you step fully into your own life, if you release your grip on how you think the story should unfold, that you will lose him, that the connection will fade, that the door will close. But the angels whisper a different truth. What is truly yours cannot be lost by living your life, cannot disappear because you chose joy, cannot fade because you refuse to abandon yourself, and if stepping into your own power and pleasure and purpose causes someone to step away, then they were not meant to walk beside you in the first place. They were meant to be a mirror, a catalyst, a beautiful and painful teacher who showed you where you still give your love away too freely, where you still make yourself small, where you still believe that your love must be earned through sacrifice rather than celebrated as a gift it is. The angels stand at a vantage point you cannot yet access, a place where they can see the threads of time weaving together, the choices being made in quiet rooms and unspoken moments, the inner shifts happening in both your heart and his. And what they see is not a simple story of yes or no, together or apart, but rather a complex and beautiful unfolding where two souls are learning, growing, stumbling, finding themselves, and in the process discovering what love actually asks of them, which is not perfection or certainty, but courage and honesty and the willingness to show up fully, even when it is uncomfortable, even when it means facing parts of themselves they have been avoiding for years. He is on a path, just as you are, and his path right now is taking him through terrain that is unfamiliar and sometimes frightening, places where he must confront his own patterns of emotional unavailability, his own fears of intimacy, his own confusion about what he wants and what he's ready for. And this is not happening to hurt you or to keep you in limbo. It is happening because his soul is also calling him toward growth, toward healing, toward becoming someone who can eventually hold love in a way he has not been able to before. And whether that healing leads him back to you in the way you hope, whether it brings him to your door with clarity and commitment, or whether it ultimately takes him in a different direction, the angels want you to trust that you have not been placed on this path by accident, that the love you have felt, the connection you have experienced, has already changed you, has already opened something in you that needed to be opened, has already shown you your own capacity for depth and presence and devotion that you may not have fully known was in you. The map your heart holds is not one of destinations, but of becoming, not of forcing outcomes, but of honoring what arises. And right now, the most important thing is not whether he chooses you in the way you want to be chosen, but whether you are choosing yourself with the same tenderness, the same faith, the same unwavering commitment that you have been offering to him. The angels guide you not towards certainty about his choices, but towards certainty about your own worth, your own path, your own inner knowing that tells you what feels right and what is not, what nourishes you and what drains you, what is love, and what is simply the fear of losing someone you have already built a story around. This moment is not about waiting for him to decide. It is about you deciding, you claiming, you stepping into the truth that you are not half of something waiting to be completed. You are whole, you are radiant. You are walking a path that is yours whether you walk beside you or not. And the angels celebrate this. They celebrate your willingness to feel so much, to risk so much, to love so openly. And they also celebrate your growing willingness to place yourself at the center of your own story, to stop narrating your life on the sidelines, to stop making your happiness conditional on someone else's readiness. Perhaps in some quiet space, let yourself acknowledge, not with words spoken into the noise of the world, but with a thought held gently in your heart, what you are truly ready for, not what you hope will happen, but what you know you deserve, what you would tell a beloved friend as she came to you with this story. What feels true when you strip away the longing and the hope and the investment and simply listen to the wisest part of yourself? There's a turning point that happens not when circumstances change, but when you change, when something inside you releases its grip on how things should be and opens to how things are. And in that opening, in that breath of acceptance, you discover a kind of freedom that you did not know was available to you. It is a freedom that comes from realizing that your peace cannot be held hostage by another person's choices, that your joy cannot wait for permission, that your life is happening now, not in some future moment when everything finally aligns, but now, in this tender and uncertain and gloriously alive present moment where you still do not have all the answers, but you have yourself, you have your breath, you have your capacity to choose again and again how you want to move through this world, how you want to love, how you want to be loved. The angels see you standing at this threshold, and they want you to know that the path you've been walking, the one that has felt so lonely, so confusing, so full of unanswered questions, has been preparing you for something that is not about him, not about whether he returns or what he decides, but about you stepping fully into your own power, your own clarity, your own radiant, undeniable knowing that you are not here to wait in the wings of someone else's story. You are here to live your own story with such fullness and presence and joy that you become magnetic not through trying, not through sacrifice, not through proving your worth, but simply by being so deeply rooted in your own truth that the right people, the right love, the right opportunities are naturally drawn to you because you're no longer leaking your energy into places it is not returned, no longer fragmenting yourself to fit into spaces that were never meant to hold you. This is not about closing your heart or building walls or deciding that love is not worth the risk. It is about loving from overflow rather than from emptiness, about offering your presence from a place of fullness rather than from a place of need, about recognizing that the love you seek is not something outside of you that you must chase or capture or wait for. It is something you cultivate within yourself, a frequency you tune to, a choice you make every day to honor your own heart, your own needs, your own sacred unfolding. The angels speak now not with answers, but with an invitation, a gentle beckoning toward a life where you're no longer defined by who stays or goes, who sees you or misses you, who chooses you or walks away, but rather by the unwavering commitment you make to yourself, to your growth, to your joy, to your willingness to remain open even after heartbreak, tender even after disappointment, hopeful even when outcomes are uncertain. And as you walk forward, as you release the need to know, to control, to make it all make sense, you may begin to notice something shifting. Not in him, not in external circumstances, but in you, in the way you hold yourself, in the way you move through your days, in the quiet confidence that returns when you stop abandoning yourself for love, and instead bring love to yourself first, and from that place, from that centered and whole and radiant place, you will see with new eyes what is actually available, what is actually real, what actually wants to meet you where you are and not where you think you should be. The path continues. The story is not over. There are whispers and ethers, movements behind the veil, things being prepared and arranged and shifted that you cannot yet see. But what the angels want you to remember as you close your eyes tonight, as you place your hand on your heart and breathe, is that you are safe, you are held, you are so deeply loved by forces that see all of you, not just the parts that are easy or pleasant or convenient, but all of you, and they are guiding you not toward a specific person or outcome, but toward yourself, toward the woman you came here to be, the love you came here to embody, the life you came here to live, and that journey, that sacred returning to yourself, is the greatest love story you will ever know. There's more the angels wish to share, more threads to follow, more truth to gently unfold. But for now, rest in this. Let it settle into your bones. And when you are ready, when your heart calls you back, we will continue walking this path together, one breath, one moment, one quiet knowing at a time.